What's good, math family? In today's video, I'm going to show you guys two different methods on how to determine the amount of real solutions we have from a quadratic equation. As we start this video out, we're really specifically focusing on discriminant formula, which is that b squared minus 4ac. That's a quick way for us to determine, right? And our answer, if it's greater than zero, it means we have two real solutions. If it's equal to zero, we have one real solution. And if it's less than zero, no real solutions. So what does that mean? When we look at problem number one, right? See, we could factor this as x minus 3 squared, right? And once we solve for it, we know that our answer will be x is equal to 3, right? And even though we have two factors, because they're the same, we know we only have one real solution. So let's break that down, right? So let's say we followed our discriminant formula. So we have negative 6 squared minus 4 times 1 times positive 9. So now we have 36 minus 36, which is equal to 0, right? So what does that mean? If it's equal to 0, we have one real solution. Now let's say if we went over to the quadratic formula, right? So now we're talking about, now let's switch colors, right? X is equal to the opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2 times a. Once we simplify, right, to find our solutions, you're going to notice that we only have one answer. It follows this discriminant. All right, so let's go through and solve. So now when I go through, this is what I'm going to have. X is equal to positive 6 plus or minus 6 squared minus 4 times 1 times 9 all over 2 times 1, right? So as we simplify, we have 6 plus or minus 0 all over 2. So when we split this answer, right, x is equal to 6 plus 0 over 2, and x is equal to 6 minus 0 over 2. No matter what we do, we're going to get one solution of 3. Now that we understood just that basic one, let's go to problem number two, right? Because when we use a discriminant, this is what we're probably going to use it for. And we have to understand what the answer essentially means, right? So let's go back to problem number two, and we're going to stay in black. So I follow my discriminant, right? First off, typically with these problems, try to factor it first. If you cannot factor it, then go into your discriminant or into the quadratic equation, okay, guys? Just a tip for you. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and do the same thing. So I have here b squared, which is 2 squared, minus 4 times a, which is 4, times c, which is 5. So I'm going to get 4 minus 80, which is going to give me negative 76. So what does this negative 76 represent? So when we do the discriminant and our answer is less than 0, that means we have no real solutions. So what exactly does this mean? So this means that if you're trying to factor, you can't factor this unless you're using a quadratic formula. And two, that means there's no x-intercept. So if we were to graph this quadratic some way, it would not touch or cross the x-axis. And just to prove that, let's do the quadratic formula and see what we get. All right. So going back to the quadratic formula, right? We have x is equal to the opposite of b, so that's negative 2, plus or minus, right? 2 squared minus 4 times 4 times 5 all over 2 times a, which is just 8. I believe that's right. Yep. So as we solve this, now we're going to get the same thing. X is equal to negative 2 plus or minus the square root. And let's erase some more here, guys, so I got some more space. The square root of negative 76 all over 8. So what we need to understand, guys, is even after we split this, this is that negative under the radical sign means that we are now working with imaginary numbers, and typically you don't see that in algebra 1. We typically see it in algebra 2. So when we're talking about the discriminant and determining whether we have real solutions or how many, this is exactly what we mean. And understand real solutions is important for, can we graph it? Is it going to touch the x axis? Really hope this video was helpful on you guys on how to determine if there are real solutions using a discriminant. Thank you guys so much for joining us today on Algebra 1 with Mr. Peters. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and leave comments for future videos you guys would like to see on our channel, or if you had questions on today's video.